Brandon,
Yeah.
we spoke about the James Harden trade a little earlier, and we were talking about James Harden for Ben Simmons and Josh Richardson.
Yes.
So, how does this trade work for a player like Ben Simmons?
Um, well, I don't think well. I think Ben Simmons needs shooters. Houston does have plethora of shooters, but his second star isn't a consistent 3-point shooter, which Harden was, and what Embiid was. Somewhat of a consistent 3-point shooter. Um, it just and it could also signal the fact that I don't know if Westbrook and Ben Simmons can play together. To be honest with you,
All right, why do you say that? Because personally, I feel like Ben Simmons is going to have kind of a
transition game,
resurgence.
transition
Yeah.
game is going to be great. It's going to be one of the fastest and one of the best transition games. I mean, we talked about Lob City and Philadelphia potentially. Like this is another team that will get out you on the break and really push the ball up the court.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we could see something similar like that in Houston. So for me, though, I think it's more so the fact that, um, again, it's the inconsistency with Westbrook's jump shot. I mean, I know he still gets his buckets, and I know he still gets his numbers, but Ben Simmons, he still gets his numbers, but not in the most efficient way. In the direction that the NBA is going towards. You know, even
Yeah.
Magic I mean, I know it's different. We're talking about 80s NBA compared to now. I mean, Magic
Mm-hmm.
had to develop a jump shot, like to really be the most efficient that he can. If we're just comparing tall point guards, you know. So for
Yeah.
Ben,
This is
yeah, I don't know if it's
yeah.
gonna work
This
out.
is. I feel like we're you're talking about him being paired up with a star like Russell Westbrook and how their transition game could be great, but he needs a second star that could be a great shooter. But this is where I'm gonna dive into something that could be a little kind of crazy, but at the same time feasible and understandable. The Houston Rockets, after trading James Harden away and acquiring Ben Simmons and Josh Richardson, won't be afraid to move on from Russell Westbrook as well. I believe that they will ship Russell Westbrook to the Los Angeles Clippers for Paul George. And we do have some backing on this, Brandon. I know you could possibly potentially see this as well. But this
Yeah.
trade rumor is also swirling around too. So there's potentially two massive deals that are coming for the Houston Rockets. One trading away James Harden, one trading for Paul George.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is going. We talked about a third team. This could be the third team involved. The Clippers possibly trading Paul George. I mean, Shaq on his podcast pretty much came out and said, I'm just going to paraphrase what he said, is that, that they should trade, Pandemic Pete, Paul George, to help Kawhi Leonard because, in the playoffs, Paul George wasn't himself. Like he wasn't playing well.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, um, you um flip Westbrook for Paul George. Paul George and Ben Simmons, I feel like is a better duo at least because now you have more consistency on offense from Paul George. And then if you're the Clippers, I mean they just hired Ty Lue. I think it's gonna be more transition heavy. So Russell Westbrook and Kawhi Leonard, two great transition guys, and then you can also if they re-sign Montrezl Harrell, like a great motor guy,
Mm-hmm.
to really push the ball up the court, um, and to
Probably
really
one of the fastest
fast
teams
break,
in the NBA.
yeah, fast break points. Lou Williams is another speedy guard that they can have, um, and they can also add other pieces. I mean, again, this is all hypothetical; it's all potential. However, what this will do is allow, I think this makes more sense than just pairing Westbrook and Ben Simmons together. I think that's a weird experiment. I think it's a weird team to pair two. Ben Simmons and Paul George makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, so you guys heard it here first. The first domino to fall would be James Harden getting traded out, but then Ben Simmons is going to be teaming up with Paul George and one of the best defensive duos in the NBA.